This is the Microschool Minute, your weekly dose of microschooling news and events.
Class is back in session, and so are we. So welcome back for Season 3 of the Microschool Minute podcast. If you're new to the show, each week we dive into the latest headlines, trends, and stories shaping the world of personalized learning. And for our returning listeners and Microschool pioneers, a huge thank you for your continued support. Just like the first day of school, we've got a fresh start with a whole batch of news to unpack. So let's dive in. In this week's edition of the Microschool Minute, what's driving families to microschools? The answer is clear: satisfaction. An eye-opening survey by EdChoice and KaiPod Learning shows that 76% of parents are very satisfied with their microschool experience. Another 17% somewhat satisfied. That's a whopping 93% satisfaction rate. Why are these numbers so high? It boils down to one word: personalization. Nearly 75% of parents reported that their child's learning is tailor-made for them. Personalized learning, flexible schedules, and small class sizes are the major draws. According to the survey, nearly 60% of parents point to these as their primary reasons for enrolling their children. But these aren't just schools, they are communities. A robust 57% of parents say that their child's microschool has a strong sense of community. This includes 21% who rave about it being very strong. Families aren't just finding a school, but they're discovering a second home. The latest PDK poll results are also making headlines this week. Nearly 60% of parents now support using public funds for private or even religious schools. That's a big leap from 50% back in 2007. It's clear that parents want choices, and they're voting with their dollars. Why the shift? Confidence in public schools is waning. In 2013, 53% of respondents graded their local schools with an A or a B. Fast forward to 2025, that number has plummeted to just 43%. Parents are turning to private schooling, seeking the personalized, flexible education models that microschools excel at. This trend spells opportunity for microschools. As traditional public school ratings dip, and with public backing for school choice on the rise, the time has never been better to rethink how we educate the next generation. The Center for Education Reform has dropped a bombshell with its latest Parent Power Index. New Jersey scores a D in empowering parents. This index measures how well states are doing in providing educational choices that meet every child's needs. Unfortunately, New Jersey is lagging behind, ranking 38th out of 50 states. That's a wake-up call. Why such a low grade? The main culprits are limited school choice and few opportunities for families to explore alternatives to traditional public schools. Despite being the Garden State, it's not exactly a fertile ground for educational options. This report shines a spotlight on the barriers blocking broader access to quality education. But here's where it gets interesting for us in the microschool movement. The report may just be the catalyst we need for change. It highlights the gaps that microschools are uniquely positioned to fill, offering personalized, flexible learning environments that traditional schools simply can't. As policymakers take note of these shortcomings, we're poised to step in and offer innovative solutions. Time to seize the opportunity and make a difference. The latest voucher bill proposed by Pennsylvania Senator Doug Mastriano aims to revolutionize educational funding through the Educational Freedom for Families account. This initiative could significantly impact microschools in the state by offering a more flexible approach to funding that empowers parents to choose private schooling or homeschooling. However, the bill's vague language on average funding and the logistics of auditing every eligible family could pose considerable challenges and delays, as previously seen in states like Arizona. Additionally, while the bill promises to deliver educational equity, critics argue that it risks undermining educational outcomes. This would be a major victory for microschools in the state, though the primary concern still lies in navigating these funding changes in a sustainable way, while the details are still being worked out. If passed, the bill stands to increase resources through state accounts, allowing families expanded options. Boston's summer programs are on fire. With an all-time high enrollment of over 18,000 kids this year, the Cradle of Liberty is setting a new standard for summer learning. That's a jaw-dropping 5% increase from last year alone. Schools can't do it all, says Education Secretary Patrick Tutwiler. He shared that we need great summer programming. This isn't just a landing space for kids, but it's intentional, it's thoughtful, and it's changing lives, he says. From sailing adventures to STEM challenges, Boston's summer scene was buzzing with energy. Kids were diving into theater workshops, shooting hoops and basketball clinics, and exploring culture through critical and historic lenses. The sheer variety is incredible, and it's exactly why Boston summer programs have become a beacon for educational innovation. Denise Lever, a pioneering entrepreneur in Arizona, faced a potentially crippling demand from the state fire marshal, which could have spelled disaster for her innovative microschool, Baker Creek Academy. The marshal's request for extensive and costly building upgrades threatened to close the doors on Denise's academy, a haven for homeschool families providing personalized educational services. Yet, with the legal backing of the Institute for Justice, Denise fought back and won. This victory not only preserved her academy, but also set a precedent for other microschools across the nation, demonstrating that these small, flexible learning environments should not be subjected to outdated regulations that are designed for traditional schools. Denise's triumph is more than just a personal victory, but it's a beacon of hope for the movement at large. The challenge she faced is not unique, as evidenced by similar instances in states like Georgia and Florida. These cases highlight the growing tension between regulatory frameworks and the rise of innovative education models that prioritize customization and parental choice. By standing her ground and refusing to be boxed into regulations that don't fit her model, Denise is paving the way for other microschools to flourish without unnecessary bureaucratic burdens. The National Microschooling Center's latest policy primer emphasizes the critical role state policies play in the expansion and success of microschools. As education evolves, the demand for personalized learning environments like microschools continues to grow. However, outdated regulatory and statutory frameworks often hinder their development. In the United States, where education is primarily governed at the state level, microschools face a complex landscape with 50 different frameworks. Even in states supportive of school choice, non-educational regulations such as zoning and business licenses pose significant barriers. Their primer highlights the necessity for flexible policies that allow microschools to thrive without compromising their innovative models. Policy recommendations focus upon the importance of flexible frameworks that support diverse learning environments and provide families the freedom to choose microschools without restrictive barriers. The primer advocates for dues such as Learning Pod Protection Acts, made popular by Charter Schools USA, which safeguards microschools from unnecessary regulations, and warns against don'ts, like imposing rigid definitions and accreditation requirements. By promoting adaptability and creativity, the primer illustrates how microschools can demonstrate their impact in meaningful ways. Recent developments in education policy have highlighted 7 states: California, Colorado, Hawaii, Michigan, Nebraska, New Mexico, and Oregon, as the least likely to opt in to the federal tax credit scholarship program. This reluctance stems from their educational policies, particularly those not allowing K-12 tuition to be eligible for 529 plans. The U.S. TCS program, set to launch in 2027, promises to provide significant tax credits to donors with benefits extending across all schooling sectors. However, these 7 states' resistance poses potential challenges for microschools. For microschool leaders, understanding the rationale between these states' decisions is critical in navigating the changing landscape. Embracing the U.S. TCS program could unleash new opportunities. Yet, the path forward is not straightforward. These developments necessitate a strategic approach from leaders and innovators alike to ensure they remain at the forefront of educational transformation. Virginia's education landscape is at a crossroads, with parental input becoming a focal point for voters. The state has taken steps towards school choice, such as the Education Improvement Scholarship Tax Credit, but challenges persist, especially in rural areas. The election of Winsome Earl Sears as lieutenant governor brought renewed hope for expanding school choice, yet legislative efforts have faced hurdles. However, the rise of microschools presents an opportunity to revitalize the conversation around school choice in the state. Recent focus group findings by the Heritage Foundation reveal that education remains a top concern for Virginia voters, emphasizing parental rights and involvement. This aligns with the principles underpinning microschools. As they begin to gain traction in the state, their potential to reshape the educational landscape in Virginia is significant. With continued advocacy and innovation, Virginia school choice is poised for momentum. As of 2025, half of all K-12 students in Florida now attend a school of choice. This staggering statistic speaks volumes. It's a seismic shift powered by Governor DeSantis' bold move to make every student eligible for a scholarship. But not everyone's cheering. Critics claim that these scholarships siphon money from district budgets. The truth? Most of that money never belonged to district schools in the first place, but rather it was earmarked for students in private, homeschool, or charter settings. Florida has set the bar high, urging other states to follow suit. In a rapidly evolving tech landscape, the emergence of the so-called Palantir Mafia has had a significant impact on the microschool movement. These former Palantir employees have leveraged their expertise to spearhead solutions in education technology, shaping a moduled monopoly around the tools that many microschools use to operate. However, as these developments unfold, the introduction of child online safety laws presents a double-edged sword. While aimed at protecting kids online, many of these laws inadvertently strengthen big tech's grip, posing challenges for authentic startups and independent educational initiatives striving to maintain autonomy. As microschool founders navigate this terrain, they stand at the crossroads of innovation and regulation. The consolidation of power within big tech, driven by new legislation, threatens to overshadow the personalized and flexible nature of microschools. However, amid these challenges, there lies an opportunity for education innovators to push boundaries and devise strategic approaches for advocacy. By voicing concerns about overreaching laws and monopolies, microschool leaders can play a pivotal role in shaping the future of education, one that remains diverse and student-focused. In a bold move to reshape the educational landscape, Secretary McMahon's Returning Education to the States tour signifies a pivotal moment in education reform. This nationwide initiative aims to understand and implement best practices from diverse educational environments across all 50 United States, starting in the South. The tour underscores the importance of state autonomy in education, highlighting innovative models that are transforming learning outcomes and meeting the unique needs of communities. As Secretary McMahon embarks on this journey, she seeks to elevate the voice of local educators, students, and leaders, all while fostering a nationwide dialogue on the future of education. For microschools, this initiative opens new avenues for recognition and growth. These personalized educational settings thrive on the principles of localized decision-making, an ideal that is central to Secretary McMahon's mission. This tour not only acknowledges the innovative spirit of microschools, but also strengthens the call for educational choice and flexibility, empowering families to choose the best paths for their children's educational journeys. Microschools are the future of education. That's what one passionate educator exclaimed after reading the newest best-selling book, The Microschool Manifesto. And they're not alone. Parents, teachers, and even students are chiming in with enthusiasm. The sentiment echoes across communities. Finally, an educational model that sees students for who they truly are. By spotlighting the opportunities in personalized student-centered learning, the book shows us how to reimagine education. The book urges us to break free from a one-size-fits-all model and to focus on the individual potential within every student, calling on founders and teachers alike to sign the pledge on their website to position their microschool as a leader of change. Mark your calendars. The Emerging School Model Scaling for Success Conference is happening September 25th and the 26th at the renowned Harvard Kennedy School. Want to be a part of it? Register online to attend. Can't miss events are to include Shaping Tomorrow's Education Today, a deep dive into discussions about the future of microschools and their role in transforming student experiences, technology as a game changer, and scaling innovation without losing your roots, a deep dive into learning strategies to grow your educational model without compromising on what makes it special. We hope to see you there. This week's Microschool Showcase takes us to Wichita, Kansas. Wichita's Creative Minds Academy is setting a new precedent by doubling its enrollment for the coming fall. marking a significant milestone in its microschool journey. As an actual part of Wichita Public Schools, this K-6 microschool has piqued national interest thanks to its tailored educational approach that caters to individual student needs. The school's unique environment, where students are grouped by skill rather than by age, offers a personalized learning experience that traditional classrooms often lack. Activities range from composing music and podcasts to interpretive dance, fostering creativity and engagement. This innovative setup mimics a homeschool atmosphere where students often refer to themselves as siblings due to the mixed-age, family-like environment. The Wichita District's proactive approach reflects a broader trend towards educational choice and flexibility, resonating with families who are seeking alternatives to conventional schooling. This initiative underscores the potential for public schools to adapt and thrive by embracing community-driven, innovative practices. As microschools like Creative Minds gains momentum, they not only offer students diverse learning opportunities, but also challenge the educational status quo, encouraging a shift toward more personalized and adaptable learning experiences. If you know of a microschool or organization that deserves a shout-out, drop a line and let us know. Thank you for tuning in to the Microschool Minute, your weekly review of microschooling news and events. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you've enjoyed this episode, consider leaving a review. Until next time, happy microschooling.